I have spoken in the past very passionately about the fact that if we delegate, as we have post-war, to the pharmaceutical industry to do the development for therapeutics, then we have to make sure that having made all the upfront investment, there is some level of recoup. Obviously, if they have invested, we should be paying for the medicines in order to make sure that they do invest again in research and development. To an extent, the fact that there isn't so much therapeutics in Alzheimer and dementia is that there hasn't been successes, and therefore there's been reluctance from private investors to invest in the sector. So I want them to be sort of remunerated so that they will invest more money, and then we will have more therapeutics. But having said that, and this is why I wanted to bring this to this particular debate in CONy, having said that, the problem that we are facing is that a lot of the pharmaceutical companies are pricing some of these therapeutics at a level that it makes it very difficult for a government to reimburse it to its general population. And I'm concerned because not only it's already patently clear that people in low-income countries are not going to have access to this treatment, or they're going to have it so much more delayed than people in high-income countries, but even in high-income countries, if a regulator decides not to reimburse it, but in other countries there are reimbursements available, only the wealthy people will be able to go and access these treatments, and the poor people will not be able to. There is another element that concerns us very much. We believe that it's a human right for people living with dementia and for their family to be able to make the choice whether they want to undergo a treatment or not. And I'm making that point because there is also a lot of concern around safety around these treatments, and there is a concern appunto about accessibility and cost. But ultimately, I think it's very important the person living with dementia or the family is given the choice to decide, knowing the risks, and the risks have to be spelled and articulated very clearly. Knowing the risk, they can make that decision, because this is something that can give hope. But I also need to emphasize that although these are disease-modifying therapies are currently not cures, so they can delay the progression of a disease, but they don't substitute the need for care later on in life. So it's also very important to us, the government, don't forget that this is not a way not to look at the social care crisis that is affecting so much of the world, because there is so many more of us, and many more of us are developing this terrible disease. And it is all down, and this is all ultimately, this is what happens when you continue to have a series of failures and lack of success. You don't even have young researchers coming into the because if they don't have funding to do their research, they can go into other areas where there is more available. And yet, as I said in my presentation today, it's the leading cause of death in the UK, in Finland, in the Netherlands, which are all countries that are reporting their results very accurately, so we know that's true, but it's also the second leading cause of death in France, in America, and so on and so forth. So this is a big issue. And I was speaking in September at the Global Population Congress in Egypt, for example, the UN one. And if you look at the growing number of people and the increasing forthcoming problem that we're going to have with less young people being born, this is only going to be a bigger problem, and who is going to care about people? And then we open the chapter about informal carers, the way that they live and work around the world. There is so much in this area to think about.